So hello, welcome everyone. It's 12 noon, so we'll get started. Thanks for coming to this event. This is, I think, the sixth event in the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum's Share Your Culture, Share Your Research Winter Series. We do have an upcoming event happening on March 13th. That's in person only, no Zoom option, unfortunately. We'll have the Mount Edgecombe Dance Group with Inupiaq and Alutiiq dancers performing here in the gallery. Really excited for that. And on April 3rd, the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum will be having their annual meeting, so stay tuned for that. We'll also have some interpretive planning meetings coming up in late March, including a meeting that will be open to community members. So stay tuned for the date and time and Zoom link. There'll be a Zoom option as well as in-person event at the museum. And I'd like to get started here just with the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum's land acknowledgement and to thank Jennifer for being on today. So we share this land acknowledgement at all of our events. We'd like to acknowledge and express our appreciation to the Indigenous people of Tlingit Ani who have occupied this land for longer than any of us can imagine. And after 250 years of colonization in Alaska, are graciously sharing this amazing land and allowing us to share it with them. Thank you. So just to give you a bit of background about Jennifer, I had the privilege of meeting her at AFN this year in the fall, and she is one of the co-owners of Pro Dog Racing Kennels, along with her husband, Carl. And this talk is Athabascan Sprint Dog Mushers Carry on a Family Tradition. And she's going to tell us about her work, her dog mushing, how Athabascan traditional values tie in, and her amazing journey with her husband, raising their children along this fantastic adventure with dog mushing. So thanks so much for being here, Jennifer. And everybody, one last thing, look in the chat. There shall be a link to the interpretive plan survey for you to fill out. If you can stick around at the end of the meeting and fill it out, that would be great. I'll turn it over to you, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then are you able to see my screen now? Okay, thank you. So thank you for this opportunity and thank you for the introduction. If you guys have any questions or anything, want any more information, you can ask at the end in the chat. I can't see the chat while I'm doing the presentation, so at the end we can do questions, and then definitely if you guys want to get in contact with me, I'm always available for other questions or information. So just to get started, my name is Jennifer Probert Erhart. I'm originally from the Tok Tanacross area, and I'm currently reside in Fairbanks with my husband Carl, and our 6 kids don't all live with us, but some of them do. And we have 35 dogs. So, okay, let's get started. So how it started for me, I was born into the sport. My parents raced dogs. My grandfather actually ran the mail with dog sled, and my mom and my uncles all raced dogs. My mom was born in 1935, and so she raced as a young girl, teenager, and then in her young adult years, as well as a couple of her brothers. And then that's how my mom and dad met. He kind of had to sort of be able to do dog racing or dog mushing also. So that was kind of one of the things that my uncles did. And on this slide here, you can see there's the top left is my sister and myself. I'm standing in the dog sled there. And I was, like I said, I was basically born into the sport. And then I'm standing in front of my parents' old truck. I think we might have even been on a trip to Whitehorse, and with some of the dogs we had at that time. And then I started out in the 1-dog class. That's how we all kind of get started. So like I said, my parents did it. I do have some cool pictures of my mom racing, but I couldn't find them. So the first picture on the left is my dad and I, and we're actually at the Tanacross races there, watching us there. The middle picture is my mom and myself, and then the far picture on the right is my uncle Archie and my daughter Brianna, and also little puppy in the little stroller as well. And Archie was the first person to win the Toke Race of Champions race in 1953, I believe it was. So he did a lot of racing. He is really instrumental in, our family's history of racing as well. But both my mom and dad raced dogs. So when my parents raced and they were involved in the sport, they kind of phased out when I was about 12, just because of the rising costs and, a lot of different things in life happen. So they kind of phased out. But it was something that I was always interested in and enjoyed. And so I kind of got back into it when my big kids now they're 27 and 28. They were 5 and 6 at the time when I got back into it. And the way I got back into it was I adopted this beautiful blue-eyed dog from the shelter. So his name was Tucker, and Tucker was an amazing dog. And Huey was another one, this gray one on the far left, photoed with my daughter there. So Huey and Tucker were these dogs from the shelter that we adopted that kind of got us back into racing. And so the way it works is when kids are racing, they typically start out with one dog, like I started. And you can share a dog, but not in the championship races. So we had Tucker, the blue-eyed dog, and then we had to get another dog, which was Huey. We got him from the shelter so that each of the kids had their own dog to race. And then soon enough, my daughter was going to age into the 2-dog division. So we were going to need to get a third dog so that she had 2 dogs. Then I figured, well, if we had just one more dog, 4 dogs, then I could race also. So this is how this kind of snowballs back into action. So you see down in the far right picture is Tucker. I'm racing him in a 4-dog race. And Tucker not only was instrumental in getting us back, and he was who the kids raced, but he also trained the other dogs that we ended up getting, and we eventually started having puppies and got more dogs. But he was a very important part of the reestablishment of our family back into the dog mushing. And another one was my uncle. One of my uncles got back into dog racing as well, into dog mushing. And just because, it's so ingrained in our family, it's such a big part of our culture and tradition. And it was just like it was really positive for our family to get back into the sport. And for my uncle and my cousin, it was also a very big part of their sobriety journey. So getting dogs and getting back into that was a very important part of that for them as well. So that's kind of how it started, and then it sort of faded a little bit and then came back. And so kind of along the way, all of these different things started happening. Now Tucker was photoed with Diamond in that other picture. And then Diamond was one of the dogs that we used to do presentations and take them to schools. And on the left, I'm giving a presentation at the Head Start in Toke. And in the center, we're doing a presentation at one of the schools here in Fairbanks. And then that's my daughter, Brianna, in the pink hoodie with a heart. And she's 18 now. So Diamond was just another pretty special dog that helped us share. He also loved to do presentations over at the Morse Thompson Center. I did some presentations over there for the tourists, and they probably see that little email message notification down there. They loved to see Diamond, and Diamond loved to meet the tourists. And also I had this little Ford Focus with a sunroof, and that's how he and I got downtown to the presentation. And he loved to sit in the back seat and stick his head out the sunroof as we would go downtown to go do our presentations. um, so also along the way, we kind of really got into this. And again, you know, as we're racing and as we're doing this, my parents and family are always a big part of it. The raising of the puppies, any of the training or racing, I will just get a phone call immediately after, or they would come to town to watch the races. But again, just kind of like that, living vicariously through us as we're continuing to do these things. And this dog mushing journey takes us on all sorts of routes. So one of the routes it took me on was the team got really good and started doing really well in the races, and we qualified to represent Team USA in the World Championships in both 2009 and again in 2013. So the far left photo is a beaded medallion by one of our elders, and she gave that to me for my journey. The coat that it's photoed on is our Team USA jackets. All of our team had those jackets. And then the little flag is actually, that's owned by Richard Frank, and he let me use that as well for my journey, because the first time in 2009, those races were all the way over into Quebec, Canada. So it was a long journey to get over there. Very exciting, very very long, very intense journey, but a very amazing experience. The photo in the middle top is of me over in Dequam, Quebec. I don't know what all that sign says because it's in French, but that's where that was at. And then the next time in 2013, I got selected again, and those races were out here in North Pole. The top right photo is the mass start 4-dog race of that. And so that's what it was. I'm in that photo somewhere. I'm kind of in the middle-ish. And all of these 4-dog teams left at the same time. We don't do that format of racing here very much. So it was really exciting to be part of. I intentionally used my older dogs in this race just because I didn't want to race that one super competitively. I didn't want to mess up my young dog's head, because that's a stressful situation to be in. I just wanted to experience it without messing with any of the dogs mentally. The bottom right photo is my 8-dog team in the World Championships, and then in the middle, some of the articles during that time of the World Championships here. So pretty exciting opportunity. I've also gotten international medals. Some of our races are international standings, so there's a point system. We got the gold medal in 8-dog last year, and I think I've gotten 10 medals altogether. So another kind of exciting, interesting thing. Another thing that happened along the way of my dog mushing journey was I had a big life change, I'll say, and fortunately I was able to connect with somebody who also had a long history of dog mushing and shared my love and passion, interest, and abilities. Not everybody wants to have a dog yard full of dogs and do all the fun dog chores. So it's good to find somebody who's, you know, has the same interests. And his name is Probert Erhart, and he comes from a long dog mushing family also. So in the second photo, there's his dad, the late Lester Erhart Sr., is photoed here with us. And Lester has raced dogs a very long time. They used to live um, on a subsistence lifestyle completely. So they used dog team also for transportation, and they had like a summer camp and a winter camp, and they used them for trapping and transportation. And then he had a very long line of very successful um, line of dogs, a breeding program. A few of his sons, so Curtis, Chucky, John, and Carl, and I think Terry Tao, an adopted son, all have raced in the Ferrandi or the Open North American or both of those races. And in the bottom right photo of this picture here, it's actually during the Open North American, we have a passenger race as part of our promotional thing. And so in this photo here is actually Carl is in the right front with the fur hat on. I'm in the left front. Carrie Erhart, Carl's niece, is in the red hood. Joe Beifelt, who is George Atla's nephew, is in the blue hoodie in the back. And those dogs are all part of the family kennel, the Erhart kennel. So it just kind of all continues and ties together. And yeah. And let's see. Oh, and then the top right photo here is Carl and myself down in Montana Creek. We race the Alaska circuit here, and Montana Creek in the Willow area is one of the locations that we typically try to race at. Also along the way, they're just kind of like fun, exciting, just racing. You can see in the middle photo, this is one of my favorite photos of the dogs. It's just so exciting to be out there with them. If you ever have a chance to be on the back of a dog sled, or, even taking a ride with somebody, it's really an amazing experience. We do the sprint racing, so we're not camping out. Our goal is not to do the Iditarod or the Yukon Quest. We do the short sprints, and we have goals and dreams of doing the longer sprints. So my husband did the Ferrandi and the Open North American a couple of years ago, and my goal is to try to do that in 2025. So a year from now. And it's really typically like about a 5-year sort of plan to be able to do that. The races that I'm doing in these two photos here would be in the far left photo. I have a 6-dog team here, and I'm running probably about a 6 or an 8-mile course. The photo in the middle, I have either 8 or 10 dogs on the line, and I'm on the 12.1 mile turn there. So I'm running 12 miles. We do a lot of races 12 miles and under, and the open races that our goal is to do, those are around 25 to 30 miles per day, and they're either a 2 or a 3-day race. So different training, different strategy, but really exciting. This year was particularly exciting because the Ferrandi was super exciting. Roxy Wright was the last female to win that race, I believe she ran it in the 90s. I know she won it in 1992, but she won it again in 2017, I think it was. She was 66 years old. might have been 2018. She was 66 and she was running Arlie Reynolds dogs. So this year, Annie Mallow was the second woman to ever win the Ferrandi. And so it was super exciting. And she was a rookie. So a female rookie won the Ferrandi this year. And then the far right photo, I didn't really have him in my sled bag, but it was just kind of, there was that, you know, little thing going around where everybody had him kind of in your stuff. So this was just kind of a fun photo, and it wasn't actually exciting that I had him running with me, but you may have remembered that that time period. So yeah, so also along the way, not everything is flashy and fun. There's a lot of like struggling and hardships, and especially when you have, you know, we have a blended family of, we have 6 kids total and 35 dogs, and just trying to juggle life, work, school, all of these things and make it all fit in. And then throw Mother Nature in there. So the photo in the middle is a cool late model snow machine that we rode till its very last day. And I actually missed that snow machine. But we had a lot of snow, a lot of heavy, wet snow. I think this was, you know, a couple years back when we had power outages and stuff. And we had to get out, and photo on the far right is Carl and I, you know, clearing trees off the dog trail. So a lot of trail maintenance and, you know, grooming and cleaning and clearing, and but it's all really good exercise and character building. I was going to title this character building. And then the photo on the far right is thank God not how we travel now, but you know, again, things are expensive. And so at some point, this was kind of how our trailer setup was. And so we were just working with what we had. And so this is some fandangled operation, how we were able to get from point A to point B. Just struggle and determination, I guess, is maybe what I could have called that. Let me grab a drink here, one sec. I'm gonna try to look at this chat. Let me see if I could see the chat. So let's see. Oh, I used my scroller. Sorry. Next slide. Um, so ups and downs, and all along, I would say the thing that really keeps us moving is the cultural connection aspect of this. It's really hard to do this sport sometimes, especially in this day and age. The places where we train, sometimes people buy that land, they're building there, so then we have to find a different place to train. We have rules and zones and covenances for where we live and how we can even keep dogs here. So that's an ongoing struggle. The cost of food, the cost of straw, the cost of material to build or purchase dog boxes, or a dog truck, or even a dog box to help to transport the dogs to and from. All of those costs keep rising. And for example, the cost of food, we have 35 dogs. I hate to do the math, but you can just scribble down the math if you want to. We have 35 dogs. In the summer, we calculate it to be about $3 a day a dog to feed. And in the wintertime, that increases because we increase their caloric intake. We also increase all of the supplements that we're giving them. And then we have to purchase a very good quality meat. We cook every day to try to help offset costs, and that's where those summer costs are mostly at. But then in the winter, it costs about $5 a day a dog to feed. So I average it out to be about $4 a day a dog to feed. That's just the food. That's not to get us to the races, membership fees, equipment, anything like that. So just the food alone is pretty expensive, but the driving force for us really is our cultural connection. So this is something that's kept even my parents and myself healthy. And that's mentally, physically, emotionally. And that's something that it's hard to put a price tag on. So in the far left upper corner is my mom and I when, we're just on going to fish camp. This is a picture of that. Um, Down in the bottom, underneath that photo, I'm at fish camp now with my husband and kids, and we have a set net. We were getting whitefish, and we were actually getting a lot of suckers out of the lake because it was getting overrun by the suckers, and we could feed the suckers to the dogs. That was good dog food for them. And then whitefish was for us. And then just to the right of that is my daughter Brianna and our little dog Skook, Skook. And she's a rescue from the Ville. She's our little res dog. She's Jack Russell Terrier and sled dog mix. And Skook means it's like what grandmas call their grandkids, or like you would say honey or sweetie. It means like my love, and it's what a lot of grandmas call. So there's our little Skook hanging out. She's kind of always right close to us. And then she's right above also with the girls cutting fish. So there's always some kind of like a dog, and our culture, it's all sort of connected and blended and continues throughout. The middle photo is my mom, and she's sharing at school during Culture Week. So they brought her in. She's not only a past dog musher, she's a past champion. She she won several times in Toke when they used to have a women's championship. And she won that, I think it was 8 or 9 times. And even before she got married and then after she got married. So you see the name change on the plaque there. But not only is she a past champion dog musher, she's also does a lot of beadwork. So she's a very skilled artist and has handed that down to her grandchildren also. And I'm wearing earrings that my daughter made that my mom taught her how to sew. So it's all connected. And then the upper photo on the far right is I'm with the late George Atla. So if you know dog mushing, you've heard that name. And he was a friend and supporter, and same, and a champion. And since that rookie female won this year, she prevented George's record from being broken this year. So George has won the Fur Rondy 10 times, and Buddy Streeper from Canada has also won it 10 times. And he was thinking he was going to break the record this year, and there were a lot of really good rookies in the race this year. There was a small field of 13, but in that field of 13, there were 2 rookies in the top 3 and 3 rookies in the top 4, I believe, or 5, top 5. So that record didn't get broke. George's record did not get broken this year. In the photo underneath is my husband looking at, this is the shop downtown in Anchorage, and there's a dedication to George there, and that's one of the last sleds that he built, and some photos of him back when he was racing. So again, just kind of like that. It's really it's again, it's kind of hard to explain when these elders who've raced before come to the races, or even my uncle used to come and just watch us train. He would pull up and watch us train dogs. And I say it's like there's like a healing medicine that happens between, because when they're watching you, they're there's like, they're reliving it. They're living vicariously through you, and they're having these old memories, these old good memories, and they're getting dopamine. And these old good memories, reliving good times, and um, when they're doing that, it helps us too. So it gives me energy and motivation where I might be going through something and want to just like, there's that crazy trailer hitch, and the snow is too much and all of these obstacles. But I know that I feel stronger and more energized and a lot and healthy, and I feel well when I'm out doing this because of that. It's like a healing medicine that's happening between um, the spectators, which is the elders, and the ones that have done this before us, the ones that have laid the ground for us, and um, experimented and tested and tried these things and understand that struggle, and the hard work. And they also understand how beautiful and peaceful and amazing it is when you're out there. So it's this really interesting dynamic that happens between the elders who've done this and us, and then for the next generation as well. So kind of pretty powerful stuff. And then the next generation. So um, not only have my parents raced and we race and are involved, but our kids do. And all of our kids have raced. And in the far left photo is my youngest daughter, Brianna, looking at a photo, and she's actually holding a trophy that she got from racing that same dog that her sister is holding. So there's 10 years between the girls, but the dog raced for both of them. And it was kind of perfect because um, when Brianna raced him, he was older and slower and just the right kind of speed for her age at the time. So, and that was the photo that I used earlier of my older daughter, Shaylin, and the dog we got from the shelter, which is Huey. And then in the middle photo, we've got some of the kids with us. We've got Shaylin, the oldest one in the pink coat, Brianna, the youngest one in the red hoodie, Dion in the back with the pink and gray hat. That's my husband's youngest daughter. And then Carl is on the right. And we are in Anchorage at the races, and um, they are our best handlers. They love the dogs. And like I said, not all of them uh, love the racing, like the competitive part of it, but they love the part that's involving with the dogs, and they've all done it. We're not. It's kind of, I don't know, with 6 kids, not everybody is like a competitive type of a person, but they're all very interested, and they love being around it. And then the super cute photo on the very right is Brianna when she was very little. I think she was 2 at the time, and she was running a friend of ours dog. His name was Barry, and Barry just would walk around the track. So again, at that age, just whatever is going to keep it fun and safe for her. And my setup at the time in the background, there was kind of a sort of a menagerie setup. Again, just any way we can get to the races and be participating. And let's see, we'll go to the next one. And more of the next generation stuff. Just kind of a cute little, not only the kids, but the dogs. Like we're breeding and raising and our dogs here also. And so the very top left photo is Omar when he was 3 days old. We were actually clipping dew claws in this picture, but he fits right in my hands. And then the next photo of me with the dog hugging, that's Omar. That's the same dog, and he clearly can't fit in my hands. Big, lovable guy. And it's super just awesome to see them as babies. They're like our kids too. And they grow and develop and learn. And it's just so cool to see them in action. And, you know, you've raised them since teeny tiny. So it's very rewarding. Just going clockwise around the top photos. The next photo, we're on that old snow machine again, and we're pulling the kids. We're just having a fun day in the springtime. This is in March, towards the end of March, where there's still snow and it's sunny and bright. And we've got a few sleds hooked up, and there's my son. He was in one of the earlier photos with the dog with the blue eyes. My son and all the girls hooked up, just, you know, we were playing with puppies, training dogs, getting the kids out. It's also just a great thing to get kids out of the house and off of devices. And then the next photo to the right was Brianna when she was running that golden retriever Barry, and you can just see how tiny she is with that, even at like a kid-sized sled. And then my son is helping her. So the bigger kids always help the smaller kids, and you know, and grandma and grandpa are there watching. Continuing down around the bottom photo with my husband in the middle in the gray coat, and it looks like tons of ladies with him, but those are our kids. So I'm right next to him. I'm in the ball hat, the gray baseball hat. And then his oldest daughter is got the red purse, and then a niece, which, you know, we have all the nieces and other kids a lot too. So one of the nieces, that's Carl's sister's daughter, Emily. And then to the left of Carl, his right, the first one is Brianna, then Dion, then Sheldon, and then just because we didn't have enough kids or dogs, we took in another kiddo. And she was just so thrilled to be like part of our team, because she didn't grow up around dogs or dog mushing, and she was just so happy. We had these hoodies made for all the kids. This was when Carl was running in the Fur Rondy in Anchorage a couple of years ago, and she was just so darn happy that we made a hoodie and stuff for her and included her. She even called her parents and was like, they have me handling, and they couldn't believe it. So then the next photo is again Brianna when she was little tiny, and another thing that the kids do when we're doing the awards and stuff is they make speeches. So she's 2-year-old making a speech. I think she probably pretty much just said thank you or whatever. But Shaylin's holding her little sister, and yeah, just kind of a cool little moment there. And then the far left is Sheldon in the bright pink coat, purple hat, and holding Jose. And I just wanted to share this picture too, because the evolution of the dog too during this time, we went from a very husky type dog and wooden sleds to these really fancy sleds that, you know, runners come off and they fold up, and we wax the skis, and the dogs changed to more of a greyhound, a lot of greyhound blended in there, a lot of German short hair pointer. And again, these were things that our ancestors were experimenting with to get a faster dog when we moved from trap line stuff, phased more into using the dogs for racing, and less of just transportation. But you can see Jose is like very brindle looking dog here. Mouse roller. So I just wanted to say thank you again to everybody for joining us. I see my husband is actually tuning in, and He's doing dog tours today. He got called to do that, so that's why it's just me doing this solo. Um, but I really wanted to thank everybody for joining us and allowing us to be part of this. And yeah, and in the first photo here on the left, it's me and my dog Mazda. The next one is me and Echo. And you can contact us if you want. We'll leave information, but yeah, I don't know. Any questions? Thank you.
That was so great. Thank you, Jennifer. I just
Yeah.
wanted to read the chat since you said that you didn't get a look at it yet. Brian and Terry wrote, loving all this knowledge and insight. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Female Fur Rondi rookie winner by 23 seconds. It was amazing.
It's very exciting.
And we'd love to invite people to ask questions if they have them. Feel free to type it in the chat or any comments. You can also raise your hand if you have a question. And I have 2 questions to kick off the Q&A session. Could you tell us how you decided to opt for the shorter races as opposed to the longer ones? It sounds like you really prefer the sprinting. So how you decided to do that and why? And then secondly, can you tell us what a training schedule looks like for you? It sounded like you have this upcoming Open American race being your goal, which is usually a 5-year plan. What would it look like for you to intensively train for a race like that, say 6 months out beforehand? And then we'll take any other questions. Thank you so much.
Okay, so first question, why sprints? Why the short sprints? So part of it was just that, I adopted a dog and then I got another dog and then I had 4. So then I was racing in the 4-dog race. And you know, just initially it was because of what I could afford and what I had. And then I really kind of liked that. And it was very similar to what I did as a kid. So as a kid, I ran in 1-dog, 2-dog, 3-dog, and 5-dog. So it was very familiar to myself. That next step up from limited class sprint to open class sprint typically takes more dogs, more time, a different racing and training strategy. And I kind of just fit in, like, I knew that's kind of, I liked that limited class sprint, not only for the speed and what I was comfortable with historically, but time-wise and what the kids could also do. And then it also allowed me to be able to, be involved in the things that the kids were doing, their other sports and their school and things like that. So then second question would be goal to run those longer races, which would be like the Open North American or the Fur Rondi. And both of those races are like a 3-day race. Around 25 to 30 miles per day, kind of depending on weather and format. And much, much, much longer, further back than 6 months is where that, that's why I say 5-year program is because we would be either breeding or buying or leasing a different style of a dog or seeing if the shorter distance dog could run the further distance. Thinking of people like the 50-meter dash, big giant guys like Usain Bolt doing a short run, that person looks a lot different than like the marathon runner who's going to run 50 miles or something, because they have different muscle structure, they have different, just how they train and all of that. So it takes a lot to kind of transition over. And the training just, it simply is like more training, longer miles. We start out with like 2 miles in the fall for our short teams, and then we just slowly go up in increments. And our team so far this year hasn't even been 12 miles. maybe they went 12 miles once. But anyway, I know we've gone like 10 miles. But if you're an open class musher, you would have definitely already done like 20, 25s a long time ago. So just different, mileages and kind of looking at dogs and the care. And then also throw in, when we have bad weather, you really need to be continuously training. So you have to go travel to places that are warmer to get those training runs in still.
That's incredible. There's so much to consider and think about. So I just want to read the chat a little bit. One question came up: when will your hubby or the kids be racing again? And that question was answered by Carl. Christine Hole wrote, "Thank you for all the insider knowledge. We think it's awesome that you're passing on this amazing tradition, Mrs. Hole's fourth grade class." So you have a pretty big audience here in Sitka at Mrs. Hole's classroom. Rosemary Carlton wrote, "Your story should be heard by PETA." And Carl answered that question previously. Tanacross Championship this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. So thank you also for taking the time to give a talk when you're in the midst of packing up and getting ready and taking off for your race. Saturday and Sunday, 10 dog class, 10 miles, and 6 dog class, 6 miles. Shelby says, "Great presentation. Do you find a lot of influx into the racing community, or is it more common to find racers who grew up in the mushing community?" And after you answer that, if we have any other questions, I'd like to open it up to your husband, Carl, to chime in if he wants to say anything, since he's taking the time to join us. I know he's busy too, and then we can wrap it up. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear Carl? I'm not sure if you can. So yeah, like I'll just kind of reiterate what he was saying in here. We will be traveling to Tanacross. It's about a 3.5, 4 hour drive from here. With the dogs, it's always a little longer. We'll head out tomorrow and we'll race down there. And yep, very addictive sport. There are people who grew up in it, but to be honest, I mean, it's hard to, it's just hard to keep it going sometimes. And we've had the salmon crisis. So I don't know if any of you guys know about that. And a lot of the village teams have had to cut way back or even phase out of it because it's nearly impossible to feed a dog team out in some of these rural communities. So that's when you ship in all the kibble and rice and stuff like that, it's very, very expensive. So the fish crisis has not done the traditional kind of, some of our native mushers have had it that pretty hard. But yeah, a lot of new people to it, and because there's ski joring, 4 dog, 6 dog, 8 dog, people can have a couple of dogs in their house and be participating. So that's pretty cool too. And what's your thoughts on a sprint team made of pit mixes? So you could probably go really fast for like 200 yards, I bet. They're fast. We've had pit bull crosses, but not much stamina. I would say not much stamina, and but similar to some of our hounds, they have short hair. So we have coats that we put on the dogs with the short hair. But there's like I said, German short hair pointer. There's Saluki. There's Greyhound. There's Border Collie, there's Irish Setter, there's all kinds of breeds of dogs mixed in with these sled dogs. And there's pros and cons to some of those. Some of them have like feet that want to, they're a little bit more delicate feet, or hair that wants to get more balled up. So we're just really careful with what breeds of dogs we do for some of these longer things, but short little fun stuff and things with kids, we're not really getting into those longer distances that you would, face some of those uh, more negative or not the strongest attributes might not come up if you're just doing more recreational or shorter stuff with some of those mixed breeds like that aren't typical sled dogs. So yeah, and what else? But even our little tiny Jack Russell sled dog mix, she's run with us. She's done a couple of little tiny trainings and she loves it. She thinks she's um, part of the team. She's actually like the the bossiest one of the whole bunch. So we have to be careful with how when we have her around the younger dogs, because we don't want the younger dogs to take on her little Jack Russell braveness too much. And then just for if you guys want to follow along with us, both my husband and I have social media. Our kennel name is Pro Dog Racing, and that's just because my last name is Probert. So, and then our logo looks kind of like, see if I can hold it. Oh, right there. So our logo looks like this. There's some flowers. That design is built off of my daughter's beadwork. We are on Facebook, we're on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as Jennifer Probert Erhart. My husband is Carl Erhart. On Instagram, I'm Positive Vibe Tribe. On TikTok, my husband is ProDog45 and I'm Mushing Mama. But yeah, I think the most we do is on Facebook. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to talk, so and I love sharing just about it. Where one of the things that I'm missing today, and Carl gets to do is with our older, like semi-retired dogs, we're doing dog tours 1 or 2 days a week, and we're getting to share with the tourists. Somebody mentioned PETA, it's a good chance to like share with people the good stuff that we do, and people have kind of a um, there's Carl now. People have something set in their mind, and once they're out there experiencing it, they're like, "Oh wow, this is entirely different. And these dogs love this." So it's cool for people to see that firsthand. And then also, I'll just say this too, because we take such good care of the dogs. That my dog Diamond has passed away, but he lived to be 16 years old, and not a lot of big, large breed dogs even live to that age anyway. And that's just a testament to how well we're taking care of them, and that's pretty common. So yeah. Well, Carl kind of popped in and popped out.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, it's not very good cell service up here, as you know, at base camp. I'll try sharing the video. Is it showing my face?
It shows your face in front of your background picture is the room.
Do you see the dogs?
Nope. All we see
Okay.
is the your background picture.
Okay. All right, well, we're up here at tours. I'm in between. I actually have to go get the next group here soon. And as Jennifer was saying, our older dogs get to come up here and do tours. And then today I brought one of our yearlings. It's a good place to do some training and get them acclimated to seeing a whole bunch of people in different scenarios.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Carl. And thank you, Jennifer. We really appreciate you folks being on for us. And this talk will be recorded. It was recorded. It will be put up on the Friends of Sheldon Jackson Museum YouTube channel. And we look forward to hearing from you in the future. And we'll check out your social media pages. And good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Enjoy 10 Across.
All
Take
right,
care. Thanks
thank
everyone
you.
for coming.
Thank you.